Hello, welcome to episode
Hello,
36
Speedy
of
Film
Speedy Film
Watchers.
Watchers. We don't have many miscellaneous topics, so let's jump into this. So, last episode, I picked the movie Climax, directed by Gaspar Noé. If you're familiar with his work, you know this is an absolutely insane movie.
That movie
It's
was so whack I climaxed myself.
Hello, Alucard. Oh yeah, screen is live, so I'm going to interact with chat. So this movie is about a bunch of dancers and uh, they get their drink gets spiked and a bunch of and it goes all wrong. It's
Like it
collapse.
starts out melodramatic almost,
Yeah,
like
this
where
movie has a
everything feels
weird
like it's
structure.
like
I'm not gonna lie, a very weird structure.
um the movie has a plot, but it's not really the center force of the movie. The center force of the movie, I feel, is more of just like exactly what happens in the final act. Um like basically the movie plays out in three different ways. Like it plays out like, oh hey, they're at a party. Oh hey, we're drinking now. Oh hey, we're going insane now. Um the movie doesn't really make a lot of sense. I might have to rewatch it, but a lot of the scenes didn't really make sense to me. But that's in a good way because it forces you to rewatch it. Um, but overall, the movie as a whole, I feel is an experimental movie. It's not necessarily a genre following movie
Well,
or
it
like a
falls in the
structure
genre
following
of
movie.
a psychedelic horror.
Yeah. Peter informed me that the script was only 5 pages long, which is interesting to me considering how long the movie is.
Yeah, it's 96 minutes because almost all of it was improv.
Yeah, like you never really watch movies that are 100% improv. Like that's actually, I think that's unheard of
Yeah, the only
in
thing that
some
wasn't
ways.
improv was the first dance sequence.
Yeah, because most movies obviously have a three-act structure that follows dialogue and a script. Like that's obviously how a movie's made. But this movie is not made at all like that. I'm pretty sure the director just told everybody, "Oh, hey, act insane for like 60 minutes."
Yeah.
um, I wouldn't say it's like a very solid movie, but we can definitely learn from movies like this because at its core, it's an experimental movie, and we need more of those nowadays.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
with Marvel and everybody else doing formulaic garbage, we need movies like that.
yeah. So
Uh,
I got several questions to ask that should be interesting. My first is, what does the dead tree in the beginning symbolize?
um, I guess it could be symbolized how quickly things can go sour and how quickly things
Yeah,
can
like
wilt
how the
given
seasons,
the right
how winter
circumstance.
comes because it was snowing out. It was winter. Winter kills the trees and
I, I,
seasons
I
fly by.
think I think the main symbolism here isn't necessarily what the tree represents. It's like how it got to that point. Um, like you can die like within minutes in real life. Like it doesn't matter like what you're doing. Like there's always going to be something that can potentially kill you in like a minute flat. And that's kind of what's exampled in the movie. All these characters go from normalized human beings to like immediately like deranged fucking psychopaths. But that's the good thing about film. Like everybody interprets things differently.
Yeah. Yeah, my take on Dead Tree was it just foreshadowing what most of the characters end up being. Um,
Um,
Alright, my second question is, unlike most movies, the end credits are at the start and the opening credits are in the middle. Why might that be?
because the film's experimental, and
Uh,
I don't think the director wanted to make a serialized movie. He wanted to make something that turned heads in
well, I think
regard
the
to how like
opening sequence was basically because the rest, everything before the opening title was like a big one giant prologue. And then,
the director formalized this movie was uh, it's almost like he wanted the movie to be insanity in general. Like he didn't want things to make a lot of sense. So like having the credits in the middle would be like almost like what an insane person would do. Um, that's just what I gathered from this entire movie. It's one big focus on insanity. Like it could almost be like a comment on insanity, like how insane people have
yeah,
thought
from
processes.
taking LSD. Alright, my third question is, how does presenting the Q&A segment from a TV affect how you view it? What is the meaning
Um,
behind?
like, can you elaborate on the question?
Well, basically, if that Q&A segment was just presented like a regular shot from a TV, would it change how you view it?
Uh, that's actually a good question. The way that scene plays out, um, you know how like in real life, if you ask a question, obviously, like you've been asked questions your whole life, so you're like, okay, so you answer the question. But if you present it through a different kind of format, it raises questions immediately, like why is it being displayed like this? Like it can help towards the plot, you know?
Yeah, like I think
Like
presenting because well, I think a reason is going to lead into my next question because you remember all those videotapes and books that were shown next to TV?
yeah.
Yeah, well, if you're familiar with those titles, how does you notice any influence? Because I haven't.
Oh, the way the books looked, it looked almost like a psychiatric office, like a
Yeah,
therapist
I honestly don't
office.
remember most. The only VHS
And
tape.
that kind of plays with my theory that the movie's a metaphor for insanity, because the start of the movie looks almost like a therapist's office. There's some kind of like um, office where like you'd be discussing mental problems, something like
Yeah,
that.
the only VHS titles I remember there being is Possession, which I've not seen, and Suspiria, which I've only seen the remake of.
Uh, I've seen the original Suspiria, and it's actually really great. I recommend it, but I'm not going to recommend it for. I'm not picking that for the for my CD film watchers pick. I might do a next one though. Now that
Yeah,
you brought it up,
and the remake's
um,
awesome.
my pick is Parasite.
Oh, nice spoiler.
Oh wait, where did he pick Parasite? God damn it, never mind. Like fuck, blanked out there.
Uh,
All right,
some
let me rethink now because I forgot that we did Parasite.
when we didn't do an episode on it, it's just we both seen it.
uh,
Too many
I could swear
mentally
we did
ill
an
people in our
episode.
society nowadays. Better get them all some counselors.
So is that all right if I pick Parasite then?
I mean, I'd rather it be something at least one of us haven't seen because I think it's.
Oh, okay. Then let me think. I had a few picks
All right,
lined up in
if
case
we get
we
someone
had
on
a
the podcast
problem.
who hasn't seen it, then go ahead.
Um, let me think about my pick for a minute, and I'll pick something.
Alucard's like saying, pick The Shining, pick Hereditary.
We can do The Shining.
Alucard, stop influencing Bhill. It says pick. If you want to pick something, get your ass in here.
Well, The Shining is a very good movie for discussion.
Yeah, it would be. Let's see. Does the Q&A and conversation segments foreshadow anything about the second half?
Um, I don't think so.
There was one part, that's like that I could think of. For the part where Omar says that the whole DY word, I'm not gonna say because I don't want to get banned, does not work out is pretty ironic because the two girls that hooked up, like the ones that survived by the end, or weren't completely fucked up. or a clock.
Yeah. Let me think about my pick for a minute. No.
Oh, still got
Um.
more questions.
Yeah, keep going with the questions, and I'll think about my pick while
Number
we're doing the
7.
questions.
I got two more left. We never see the act of spiking the sangria. Oh, fun fact about that. Guess
Oh
from
wait, yeah. Fun fact. Well, not fun fact, but here it plays into my theory again. You never actually see anybody spike it, which adds to the whole insanity thing. How this whole like thing is just madness doesn't make a lot of sense, like real madness would.
Okay.
None of the plot advances actually make sense from a logical standpoint because you never see it happen. So you
Yeah,
can't
I was
really
about to
you
ask,
can't
how
really
would the experience be different if the spiking was shown?
um well, for one, I think it's deliberate that it was never shown because of the whole insanity thing that I keep theorizing about. Um,
Hmm.
these characters all represent some kind of part of insanity that's might be part of one person's insanity, not necessarily like as a character, just as a concept.
Alright, yeah. I was honestly thinking that by making it and making not shown, it keeps the focus away from the whole that act and more about the actual characters experiencing it. Because if we did see it, then it would be focusing on.
Ever notice how the location isn't really explored or like even mentioned really?
Yeah, they never say where they
Um,
are. They're just zooming around it.
yeah, a lot of times insanity is not knowing like what's real and what's not, and that could play with the location they're in. Like, the location's never really described in any detail, or almost like it doesn't even exist.
It's just
And
all right.
I could be reaching, but I just feel like this whole
Nah, as
film
long
is a
as you can
metaphor
make
for
some sort of
insanity.
backup to your points, you're not really reaching. My final question is: when Tito touches the electric box, the lights change to red. What does this symbolize?
Hell, the depths of
Yeah,
literal
that's a good one.
darkness.
That's a good pick. Hell, or like, I'm trying to
Ever
think.
notice? Ever notice how the characters' actions get more and more like violent and nonsensical as it goes on?
Oh yeah, they go
Uh,
like when near the end, they just completely go crazy. It's like they're all having a seizure. Or
I don't think any drinks were actually spiked. I think this is all mass hysteria. Because if you research what mass hysteria really is, it can be just like this in studies.
I was
Like if people believe
thinking,
something strong enough,
trying to think
it
of any.
causes mass hysteria.
Yeah, I can't think of any good symbols. I was thinking blood, but can't figure out how that would make sense.
Because you
Oh,
never see anybody spike the drink. Nobody really acts like they're guilty of it. Like everybody seems like they don't know what happened because it didn't happen. That's what causes the mass hysteria.
I like this interpretation. It's pretty unique. I haven't seen that before. I never even thought about that idea. The drink was never spiked. Oh yeah, this was actually a pretty good
Yeah,
discussion.
and think about it. The woman was in the early stages of pregnancy, right? What happens when you're in the early stages of pregnancy? Morning sickness,
Ooh,
and she was vomiting, and that could have been from the pregnancy, not the spike.
oh yeah, there was actually another thing. I don't know if it was exactly the pregnant one said this. My memory could be off, but one of them mentioned like I can't remember the exact question. One of their answers was when she would commit suicide, and she was tempted to, and she was told to kill her. The pregnant was told to kill herself. So I guess that was another piece of foreshadowing in the Q&A segment.
That's another reason why it could be hell, like insanity, because normal people don't look at a pregnant woman and say "kill yourself." This doesn't
Yeah.
happen that way. But overall, the movie, my personal interpretation of climax. What's the definition of climax? To finish something, and these characters finish their delusion of grandeur, their fucking breakdown.
Well, there's also a definition of the most intense, exciting, or most important point of something.
Like, I couldn't really understand what the film was when I was first watching it, but the more I thought about the insanity angle, the more it made sense because nothing really made sense to begin with in the movie. Uh, I don't know. It has to be the insanity angle. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what the director went for, the
Well,
writer and director.
yep. Well, that's all my questions. Unless you have anything else.
Um, I want to add one more thing about this movie that kind of interests me. It's the way the characters were acting throughout all three acts. There was something wrong in each act. Even when they were, normal or considered normal, there were still things off about these people. Do you notice that?
Yeah,
Like,
they were all talking about sex a lot.
and what's usually shoehorned in with mental illness? Sexual assault. People that sexually assault people are usually not mentally sound. So I don't know. I just feel like the whole sex subplot has to do with the insanity aspect. Like they're all sexual deviants that it's just adding to it.
Okay, Alucard is begging us to read his questions. So we're gonna get to the Q&A now. So our question from Alucard asks, "What did you learn from watching this film? Make sure your drinks don't get spiked."
Don't bring your kids to a drug party.
Oh yeah, that one too. Don't bring your kids to a goddamn party. If they're serving alcohol, don't serve it to kids. They're gonna drink it.
I personally I wanna sit down and talk with this director because I'm pretty sure I figured out the secret to this movie.
Oh yeah, Gaspar Noé's kind of crazy. Uh, have you seen the video where he talks about how much he hates Black Panther? It's so freaking epic.
Well, I hate Black Panther too, so we get along in that regard.
Oh my god, I'll DM it to you. It's so freaking funny. And funny, go with this question. He thinks that in that video it says he thinks you should learn something from movies. And
what I learned from Marvel movies: how not to make a movie.
I'm DMing to you. This is the funniest fucking date ever. No, Alucard, you gotta
no, I
watch
hate
this
it.
movie. It's so freaking amazing. It's really odd and different, but by the end you're gonna be shaken by the end.
This guy, French.
Yeah, he's French. So Bhill, we got the one Q&A, got through the questions of my discussion. What are you picking for next
Longer
episode?
reps. Okay, so what am I picking for next week? Let me think for a minute. Just give me a minute here.
Yeah.
Let me just use Google. Google here for a minute. I guess, just give me a minute here.
Don't worry, I'm patient.
I guess I'll pick the original Silent Hill movie, just because it's a passable video game movie.
Reminder that PD did not pay attention when watching Pet Sematary. Oh shit.
It's not crazy good, but it's not crazy bad either. It's just like acceptable video game movie, you know?
Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. Alright.
Well, I guess that's my pick.
Yeah, I got exposed.
Didn't really have a good...
Reminder, got exposed by Crisco Ball for not paying attention during Pet Cemetery. Reminder, I'm still blocked by Crisco Ball for doing the Yeehaw Boys Marathon, which is fucking garbage.
Oh, you're streaming this? I didn't even know you streamed this shit. Like,
I tried to stream this episode. 2 amazing. Yeah.
I love your stream setup for this. How it's just like 3 JPEGs.
I mean, yeah, we don't need a fancy layout.
Oh my god, it's Alucard.
You. Brandon's on there. Dude, I literally had his profile picture on here the entire time. Yeah, okay, so we're doing Silent Hill next episode.
Fucking video game movies.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be. It's probably. Hopefully, it's better than the UA Boyle movies.
Oh, it's much better. much better. Did you know Uwe Boll made actually one good movie before? It's often considered like actually semi-decent. It's called Rampage.
I heard of it. I highly doubt it's good.
No. I'm not saying it's like good. I'm just saying it's like actually surprisingly good for Uwe Boll standard. It's like almost like an indie movie.
Alright, so that concludes this episode of Speedy Film Watchers. Next week,
surprisingly, this episode was pretty long.
Yeah, because it actually had discussion questions.
You do that for Silent Hill as well? I should write questions for you.
Any questions.
Yeah, see you guys later.
Alright, bye.